Hi, how are you today? I am going to be doing this MDF gecko. I have already painted it with Pebeo Studio Acrylics Ultramarine Blue on the surface and on the sides. It's been taped on the back. And the next thing I'm going to do with it is prepare it for some resin and mica pigments. Now, I've done a few where I've just taken the resin, the colored resin, and drizzled it over the MDF shape. And it's pretty, but I like to do things that are a little bit more complicated and, you know, push me a little bit further as an artist than, than just doing that. As you saw with my dragon, it was just drizzled paint and drizzled resin on it, but I think I gave it a little bit of life anyway. I'm going to try to do the same thing with this gecko. What I have, I'm going to be putting on some texture. What I'm going to use is Pebeo Studio's acrylic sand gel texture. This is white. It's supposed to come out of the tube white, but when I took it out, it's pretty, it's not completely dried up, but it's dried up enough that it's not squeezing out of the tube. But I think it's going to be okay. I cut open the tube and put it into a cup, and then in that cup I added a little squirt of Pebeo acrylic binder and also medium gel. Because this is a gel, I'm hoping that their gel will, kind of perk it up and liven it up again. So I've stirred that into the sand, so it's, it's still gritty, but it's at least pliable now. And I'm hoping that it's going to work because I don't want to ruin this nice gecko. But it looks at least like it should when it squeezes out of the tube. Like it's quite, it's quite soft and a lot more usable now. So hopefully that will be okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the sand gel texture over the gecko and let that dry before I start adding any resin or mica powders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of this sand gel into a little cup here. I'm not sure how much I'm going to need, but that should be plenty. And then I base coated this in ultramarine, so I'm going to add a little bit of the ultramarine to my gel. And then I might have to touch it up with paint after it's dried, but hopefully not very much. It depends on how it dries. I haven't done it this way before. I've applied the gel, the sand texture to the MDF and then painted over top of it. This time I'm tinting the sand and hoping that I won't have to paint it after and kind of save myself 2 drying stages. Instead of waiting for the sand to dry and then painting it and then waiting for the paint to dry, I'm hoping to combine the 2 processes and save myself the drying time. So that looks pretty good actually. Fingers crossed that it's going to dry nicely, that I won't have to worry about. And I mean, I'm going to be putting colored resin over it anyway, but just like to have nice coverage and make sure that everything looks good. So I'm just using a palette knife to smear this gel texture on to the gecko, and I'm gonna probably get pretty dirty doing this, which is good. Getting dirty is fun. So what I want to do is make some texture that kind of looks like lizardy skin. So I'm just going to take my palette knife and just, you know, kind of make a little texture in it. That looks pretty cool. This might not be enough, but maybe I don't have to put it on quite so thick. So yeah, I want this gecko to have some, you know, some textural interest, some color interest. Other than blue, I haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do for colors. And even if I did, I would, let's all say it together, change her mind. Yeah, I'll just use the back of the palette knife like that and get some texture going. That looks pretty cool. Maybe I'll show a picture of the other one at the end that I did. It was pretty darn cool. I actually did start taking a video of that one, but I hadn't quite figured out the whole YouTube thing yet, so I ended up just deleting it all and saying I'll do another gecko one day, and hopefully by then I'll know what I'm doing ish on YouTube and be able to get something posted. So here we are. Hopefully this works. I love playing with these shapes. I like thinking of how I can make it look, you know, really cool and interesting. Even though the dragon didn't turn out exactly as I had hoped with those bubbles, I think, you know, I was really happy with the way it turned out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. And I have lots of shapes. I have too many, really. I have turtles. I have a phoenix that I might do here soon. I have a frog that I really want to do. Butterfly, hummingbird, all kinds of shapes. I have a pretty good guy that'll make me pretty much whatever I want within reason. I don't know if there's a lot of reason in my thinking, but I'm going to be pretty messy after this, I think. All right, so I will have to let this dry probably for at least a day. I can't remember how long I let the last one dry for. But you know, in YouTube land, it could be a month and I could tell you it was 24 hours, and really, who's gonna know the difference? But I will tell you exactly how much time it took to dry. I'll look up the bottle here too and see what it says. Yep, that looks pretty cool. I want there to be some texture on there that actually looks like a lizard of some kind. Not putting on just green paint. It's not going to happen. All right, I will fuss with this a little bit more just to get everything on there properly. And when I come back, I will have decided what colors of pigments, mica powders I'll be using. And I'll take you through that process. That process isn't going to be, you know, anything wild and crazy. The texture is the part that's going to be adding interest to it, and then as the resin flows over it, it you know, creates patterns within the resin, and looks pretty interesting, I think. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, I'm back. The Gecko and the sand texture gel is dry. It's been 48 hours, honestly, 48 hours. And I am going to mix up my resin. So what I've decided to do with my resin is to mix up some more of the Ultramarine blue for flood base that I'm going to put on with the resin first. And then I am going to add this kind of a sky blue. This comes out of that mystery Finnabair package that I have. And then I also have some new pigments from Color Passion. This is Onyx Pearl, so that will be like a black pearl. And then I am going to combine the Bling It Pure Mica Minerals Interference Blue and Interference Gold. I'm going to mix those together. And I'm trying to think whether I want to add just another straight gold as well, or if that will just be too much. We'll see. When I'm mixing things up, if I decide that I have enough resin, then I will add just a straight gold. I will either put in what am I going to put in? Where did it go? I might put in the Golden Beach, which is a really light gold. Or I might bling it out a little bit more with the Sparkler Miners Gold. This one's really pretty too. Very, very sparkly. So I might put that in just to add to the sparkle. The rest of these are all going to be like a pearl shine to it, a pearl sheen to it. But I might add this just to add a little bit more of a bigger sparkle as well. I haven't decided yet, but I'm leaning in that direction now that I'm talking about it. But I'll come back in just a sec with the resin all mixed up. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, I have my resin mixed up. I used the Color Passion Black Onyx, which is a black with a charcoal shift to it. Very pretty. I did decide to go ahead and use the blue out of the Finnabair package. Nice pretty blue. And the Just Paint Sparkle Miners Gold. Quite translucent, but also very sparkly. And then I mixed the ColourArte Bling It Interference Gold and Interference Blue. And then I'm also going to use a little bit of the Ultramarine blue paint that I used for the base of the Gecko. When adding paint to my resin, I literally only add like a half a pea, and that's probably even still too much for this likely 1 or 2 ounces of resin that I have here. And the first thing I always notice with adding paint to resin is that it starts to warm up. So it gets really hot if you add too much paint. And you don't want that. I haven't had a problem with it that I know of to this point, but apparently it can affect the curing of the resin. So this isn't going to add a whole lot of color to the Gecko. It's very translucent. But anyway, here we go. Okay, there he is. I'm really happy with how he turned out. I am glad I decided to use the gold because it's definitely adding a little bit of extra sparkle. I'm going to let this just kind of drip and settle for an hour or so, and then I'll come back in and show you guys a close-up. And hopefully I'll be able to hit it right with the light, because it sure is pretty with all the different pigments and sparkles that I used on him. So hang tight and I'll bring you in for a close-up. See you in a bit. Okay, here he is on a clean surface so you can see him a little bit better. I think he turned out pretty good. So you can see how the resin with the mica powders kind of flow around the texture that I put down with the gel sand. Giving it a little bit of interest. I think these could be super shiny. That blue and the gold are really pretty. The black and the blue add some depth to it. Oops. Let me see. Yeah, really happy with them. I hope you like them. Please leave a comment, let me know what you think. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good day. Bye.